Did you just tell us to be quiet and then make all of that noise?
Gonna rock it now, gonna rock it now by Jack Cinderhulk, Jack Cinderhulk, gonna rock it now, gonna rock it now, rock it, Jack Cinderhulk.
Did you just tell us to be quiet and then make all of that noise?
Welcome to the rework of the TForce, now we going hard, cause we bumping at the beat source. It's a 3-course dinner of dudes bringing the news and stats, interviews and casts from the pro scene. So fresh and so clean, like you're leaning with Nami in the bot lane. Keep it hot like brand, practicing his dot game, give it to you easy like you're Resi in the bot game. Imagine Draven at prime time, now ulti like LeBlanc can copy that 4 times, but manlier, knock it up like now fight planning a family-er. You gotta be tuned in like Sona on the ad wall, get on the chat call, can a podcast really be all that? Of course, how do 4 guys make a Triforce?
I can't hold it any longer. I gotta laugh. Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force podcast. Oh, this scene is gonna be like way off tonight because I didn't think about it before. Hold on, I gotta fix the scene. Yeah, it's something. I don't know. The scene is all screwed up tonight. Guys, welcome to the Trinity Force podcast. My name is Adapotophobia Congo, and I am wearing my solidarity blanket so that Riot can no longer get in my head and try to change things. And
I don't even know what that means.
My name is Adapotophobia Cox, when I'm your host for this evening. If you're not watching live and looking at the left-hand corner, I am wearing, again, my solidarity blanket so that Riot can no longer get into my head and change all the things that I love.
Oh, so that's why.
Right. I want to be able. I want to be able to play Top Master Yi and other things, but no, they're like, you can't play that. We want you to play tank junglers, and I'm like, stay out of my head, Riot.
So you're you're trying to foil their plan?
I want to throw you in a microwave and turn that bitch on so bad.
It's really hot. You know how hot mylar blankets are? Sorry for anyone listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm wearing a mylar blanket. Hold on. Okay. Take that off. Lots of stuff. Yes, so like I said, if you're watching live, I apologize. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off all the cameras because I didn't set up the new stream. If you're not watching live, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast and listening to us talk about patch 5.5 part 2. DeClawd, Chira, and Daze are with us this week.
How you guys?
Other than that, we are going to move right into some quick announcements. First and foremost, if you would like to grab some awesome nature snacks, if you'd really like to, up your snack game to the next level, bit.ly/TForce Nature. Go grab yourself a nature box. We haven't really pimped that in a while, but I thought I'd bring it back here for a couple episodes. You can go grab yourself, 3 or 4 snacks for $20 a month by doing it once. You support the podcast, go out there, sign up, and then kill it the next month. Enjoy those Sriracha cashews. We know Chira loves them so much.
They're so good. The Big Island pineapple is banging. If you need to satiate that sweet tooth, I'm a big fan of that.
We had to bring this back because Chira just bought another bag of Reese's eggs.
Hey,
really
they were on
good.
sale for $3 for the bag. Come on now, I couldn't help myself. And I've only eaten 3
If
of them.
only you had a nature box.
I know. Well, the last time I got Nature Box, and Adam, it's 5 snacks for $20.
That's right, 5 snacks. Sorry, I haven't brought it up in a while.
All of them in that like a sitting. So
well, I kind of want to move this as quickly as I can. The reason I'm bringing this back up is because I think we are only like $6 short of being able to cash out on that because they do minimums, and so I just need to bring it back out so we can cash out, kill it, and go to the next promotion. That's kind of how this whole thing works. And so yeah, just go out there. If you haven't signed up already, go at bit.ly/TForce Nature. Secondly, if you donated to the podcast, we're going to read your donations on Wednesday because I am unprepared for tonight because I am a terrible host. Thank you so much for donating to the podcast. If you'd like to donate and hear your name read out on Friday/Wednesday, TRinityForcePodcast.com/donate. If you do not have the money to donate, Teespring, the King DeClawd, that's up. We sold, as of today, we sold 32 of our 50 shirts that we wanted to sell, which is
not bad.
Awesome.
that's great.
But
Very cool.
we do have, as DeClawd put it earlier, we do have a new shirt coming up that will not leave a heroic charge on your credit card.
Hint. Wonder what it could be.
That will be out here you will hear about that on Wednesday. We'll have one more t-shirt for you guys to buy. Again, these are all limited edition t-shirts, so get them one at a time and wear them to your favorite not Trinity Force, to your LCS event near you, or MSI, because Mitch Chocolate Chip, Alex Lanzolini, and a couple other the Trinity Force Network guys are headed down there to the Florida event. So if you are, please go on to the network and let us know.
Wear our t-shirts. We want to see you wearing them at these events. How cool would that be?
And you can, if you go to that event and we win the podcast awards, podcastawards.com, and vote for Trinity Force Podcast, you win RP every day by sending an email to contest@trinityforcepodcast.com with the picture of your vote. If we get that, I'm gonna send that trophy down there with Mitch or whomever goes. If one of our listeners, whatever, I'm gonna send that trophy when we win it down there, so you guys can walk around the floor and hold it
That's
above your
awesome.
heads.
That is cool.
So guys, podcastawards.com. Go vote for Trinity Force. I think that's everything for this week. I made it through here in like 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the fastest you've ever done it, even after the giant foil fiasco of 2015.
I can get the foil back.
Mylar.
Don't do it, please.
I'll go ahead and put my camera on so people at least see there's something going on. Like, hey guys, you can see my face.
Why don't you fix the UI while you're talking? Can't
actually-
you chew bubblegum and walk?
I'm going to.
Okay.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to let you talk while I fix the UI.
There we go. All right, so we're moving on from announcements then and continuing our patch 5.5 discussion that we left off on our last podcast. I forget where we left off, though. Where were we?
We talked just about junglers. Let's recap how the junglers are doing and if any of our predictions came true. I do know that we said that Nautilus may or not be good. We could not decide at that point in time.
So we played him,
And
he is good.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
He's pretty
Maxing that E early is stupid,
Awesome.
easy, clear.
Yeah.
The only gripe I have is that he's a little bit mana hungry, but that's just because I can't stop spamming E because it's so spammable once you have a little bit of CDR. So you're just pumping out some damage. But the nice thing is you end up getting to this nice point of tankiness and you're doing a decent amount of damage, but you never feel like you're doing too much damage for how tanky you are. So I think they kind of hit a good sort of stride with that champion. And honestly, I feel like he could almost set a pretty good example for a bunch of the other tanky jungle picks right now.
I played a rank game with one on the enemy team, and he was a terror. He was destroying our Lee Sin. No one could solo him. I couldn't solo him. I was Braum. I was support. But regardless, he was just the front runner on the enemy team. But it felt like old Nautilus in that he couldn't carry. Even though he was getting kills, he was doing awesome. He still relied on his team to do. It's not like a Jarvan or a Vi where you can pretty much set the pace.
You're not going to assassinate somebody with Nautilus.
Right, exactly. But he was so key for them doing as well as they did, but we just out-rotated them, and we won. We were down 15 kills, but we won because of our rotations.
That's funny you bring... Sorry, Chiro, but that's funny you bring up you can't carry, because I did play him once this weekend. Because I'm learning jungle now. Just so you guys know that Chira and I are actually working on a new a new series, and he's going to teach me to jungle, and we're going to record it and then post that to the YouTube so you guys can understand how to be, ways that you can improve. And I kind of want to do it like what I would like to do is if Punch is ready for it, I want Days to teach Punch to support, or Punch to teach Days to AD carry, or something like that.
Bot lane.
Cool.
You're already bot lane, so you know what to do.
Assuming there's time, I'm bringing that up. But
I think it would be so funny to just watch Days try and last hit while Punch is not last hitting and doing the complete opposite. I don't know. I think it'd be great.
You mean when the river goes dark and Days like, Punch? Why are you working?
It's gonna be the same thing. Like this. So this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna miss a last hit, and he's just gonna get slowly more and more furious. Like it's just gonna bug him, like at his soul, and then he's gonna be so focused on that we're gonna have no vision at all and anywhere near the lane. And then I'm gonna get frustrated with that, and eventually he's just gonna buy damage items, and I'm gonna go ward.
Well, whatever works.
Switch roles.
But with that said, I did play Nautilus, and you said you didn't feel like you could carry. I actually felt like there was a point where I could carry, and I didn't build damage items. But it may have been the case where I was like 5-0, and everybody else was so underleveled that that you have so much CDR and you're doing so much damage between your E's and your auto attack that I was chunking people for quarter to half their life in a rotation.
How long
But you
did
had
that
your
game...
Mobies, right? So you could run around the map?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like it was one of those times where I was fed, so it's
That
not
helps
it's
you.
not a rule.
It helps you carry a little better when you can get to the other lanes.
That's the other thing too. Like once you get your Cinderhulk going, and if you can get a level up or two, Nautilus is pretty scary in that mid game when he starts to get a few items and he's finally able to cast a bunch of abilities and do his little thing. The problem is late game he becomes a little else than hey, I'm gonna lock down who is ever gonna dive my carry or lock down the enemy, or I'm just gonna try and peel for my carry, or I'm just going to cause as much chaos as I can with my passive stun, or what have you.
Ult the ADC and run in and hope my team can react
I mean that very well, Adam, could have been one of those situations where you got ahead, but like as soon as the enemies caught up to that same level, you would feel way less effective.
It was. Yeah. I'm just pointing out that he does have the tools with his kit now. His first jungle clear doesn't feel as rough. Actually, Rek'Sai feels a lot rougher than he does with a first jungle clear.
You feel smooth. Nautilus feels smooth as hell in the jungle.
But speaking of junglers who have seen a large increase since Cinderhulk came out, Sejuani being one of the number one tank right now. Winningest champions in the game. I think what did her win percentage go up by? Like, I think 10% or 5% or something like that over the last patch. So somebody who with extra life, her W scales, it does more damage with the percentage of, or with the additional life that she gains.
She's getting bonus health in that Cinderhulk. She's getting that extra damage that she's doing early. Yeah, I mean, and she has a ranged Amumu ult. What's not to love?
I've always said it. She's awesome. She carried me to plat last 3 seasons, and this season included. So, she's a solid champion. She'll do the silver, gold, bronze, all the way up to plat, as far as my experience goes, and she's still very viable. So, and she's starting to be played in the LCS too. So,
and this is pre 5.5 competitive play.
Yeah, and that's pre 5.5. I'm a little worried. Post 5.5, she'll come out a lot, and then they'll have to do something to her like they always do. But yeah. Anyway, quick recap for Nautilus for the people who didn't listen last episode. His Riptide has a way shorter cooldown. It's half at max level, so that's why he's cool. But the jungle items, we talked about the Cinderhulk last patch. What else did they change in the jungle?
They made Raptors easier.
Yeah, we never got actually to the full jungle changes.
Right. So let's move on to that. The Raptors are easier. They don't hurt you as much.
It's noticeably different.
It is.
It's so noticeable.
The little guys, the little guys do 4 less damage every time they hit, which stacks up, and the large raptor does 10 less damage on his hit. So right there, 4 times 3, 12, 10, 22 damage every hit less on you. It's pretty significant when you're
especially
when
early
you need
game.
them.
Yeah, when you have way less health,
before you go back.
That straight adds up.
Yep. Gromp does 7 less damage on his attack, or he has 7 less attack damage. The big wolf rewards more gold, 48 gold to 53, and the small wolves give you 16, up from 14. Right. So the jungle is a little easier and a little bit more. They're trying to entice you to go after the wolves more because I guess, including myself, I was skipping them. So was I.
But now,
except the enemy jungle, I would always smite the big wolf. But
that makes sense,
right?
I think now with that gold increase, it actually makes sense. I'm talking with Chira, so I really should let him talk about this. But it does make sense to do, if you're a tanky jungler, depending on the side. Well, it makes sense to go Gromp blue, wolves back, red race, look for a gank, grab your scuttle crab, and then move on from there depending on the map. That's like your basic one rotation around. It's something that I found working very well for me as well.
Yeah. That's pretty common. There's certain champions, if they have a hard CC, they can kill like their Gromp blue and then kill the crab and back and end up going red raptors wolves or wherever after raptors based on where laners are at. But I'm really, really happy with the jungle changes and that it makes it so that on like blue side, for example, you might see tanky junglers start blue instead of red. So instead of both sides starting at the bottom side of the jungle, you might
everybody's
see
starting Gromp now rather than starting
a lot of
Gromp is Gromp. And this is why Gromp's poison was 4 plus 8 times level. Now it's 10 plus 10% bonus health,
and it's awesome.
It scales with your tankier champions definitely do better with the Gromp buff, but. So you build health. You don't have to worry about, it caps at 18. It's your health. So you build more health, like my Sejuani that I love, and your Gromp is hitting mad damage Gromp buff. For champions, too. It's not just in the jungle. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Something to mention that people may have not noticed, again, about the Cinderhulk, since we're talking AoE damage, is that Cinderhulk leaves minions at 1 health and does not kill them.
Right.
Ever.
Right, exactly. Yep. So that's something that I didn't know at first, and I ran away from Gromp thinking, it's gonna kill him this tick as he follows me for a second. Nope. Gromp buff. Does the Gromp buff leave him at 1 health, or does it kill them? Because I've had the Gromp buff too, and I've had to go and smack them. So I don't know if maybe they're just. the Gromp's immune to it, but
I want to say it does, but I've seen a lot of weird things leave at 1 health recently. There's a lot of with the jungle camps hitting things.
It's the damage on the.
I know the
machete
and stuff leave at 1 health, but even I've seen some like mid lane.
The machete,
you'll hit it and leave it at 1
I will say, ever since the jungle changes went through, it's noticeable to be fighting a buff and it being at 1 health, and you're like, how that? Like for a long time, I'm just like, well, how does that work? Like. It feels like it happens all the time, but that's because it does happen all the time.
Wait, you said Cinderhulk one leaves minions or just monsters?
It leaves monsters.
I think it kills the minions.
Sorry, I think if I said minions, I meant monsters.
Okay.
Have you guys noticed how much damage Cinderhulk does at level 18?
Well, we had mentioned that last week.
It's not as good as the Gromp buff, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it's still like 44 to 48-ish damage.
They don't need to attack you to get the damage. So
yeah, it's beautiful.
You just got to be there, in their face. Rift Scuttler now applies a speed boost. You know, when you get at that little shrine area, you run over it, you're faster. It applies it to pets now. Didn't have it, so it's a little nice quality of life thing. Tivas will be running at you a little bit faster. And there's a dragon buff counter for spectator mode. And that's pretty much it for the jungle items and jungle monsters.
So let's wrap back around here with
the
jungle champions.
Right.
Do we all feel that the champions that got changed in this patch, are there any champions that got changed in this patch that you feel have fallen out of favor? Any champions that you feel that they should be played, or any champions that maybe they had minor changes and are actually major changes?
I say Vi is still extremely good because she basically is already pretty solid at dealing with tankier champs anyway with the built-in things in her kit. And if you're building full tank and she lands a Q on you, reduces stuff with Vault Breaker. And they haven't changed her at all, so she's still going to be a monster in that she can isolate an important target on the enemy team. She just seems like she has everything that's going for her right now. So with the tanky junglers coming back, I still see kind of her at the peak of jungling now for a solo
even
queue.
With her nerfs. Even with those nerfs, she's still awesome. Volibear is definitely amazing now. I know we touched on him in the last podcast, but I played him. And that that W going on half cooldown whenever you use it on a monster, it's insane. It's just insane. You know, it's, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, the way I have it built at level 1 or level 2 by the time I get it. It's it's awesome. It's up there at the same time as your
somebody else had posted on the TForce network that Volibear,
they think Volibear is secret OP. As much as I don't get me wrong, I love Volibear as a champion. I really think he's a cool champion, but he still has the main issue, whereas he's not a hard initiating champion because it takes him too long to run and Q at somebody unless he has flash
it's like
up.
Annie, you got to flash, right?
Yeah,
I actually did that to a Jarvan who jumped on my 80 carry. I flashed into his pit, tossed him out of it, and then slash dance real quick, and he pulled it down.
I mean, even still though, with the flash Q initiate, they can still flash in the time it takes your Q to go off, and you're safe.
Right.
So like,
there's a little bit of a.
It's not nearly as reliable as say like a flash Sejuani Q or alt or anything like that. Like,
well, it's not instant. So
yeah, that's exactly it. It's one of those situations where is there anything necessarily that Volibear can do that Sejuani can't do better in AoE?
Yes, damage.
But I will say, if you're finding success with Volibear or you're finding success with any champion, stick with it.
Yep.
Continue to play it.
I actually played a ranked game of Volibear earlier in the week, actually this weekend. And he was really strong. Like, his ganks were really strong. And coming out of the jungle, his counter ganks were great. And late game, I lost it because I couldn't initiate. I would just get chunked down. The enemy team had a ton of slows. We were against, like, an Ashe, an Udyr, a Sion. Like, I couldn't get near anybody. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, he was really strong ganking. I just couldn't get to anyone come team fight. But, yeah, he was so much fun to play, though.
But he's really easy to play out of the jungle. And we
he is.
Yeah,
we had talked about
safe.
this not even 10 shows ago, probably 6, 8, or 8 at this point, where we said that Volibear is a very good intro jungler. If you've literally never played jungle before, instead of playing Warwick, play Volibear, because you can proc your passive. Even if you played it, you'll proc your passive on your first go round on purpose, just so that it's back up by the time you go back out there.
Well, that's the thing. Even if you don't know what you're doing out of the jungle and you accidentally screw up, your passive's there as a safety net to save you.
Yeah. It's a free Mundo ult. at level 1.
Yeah.
I feel like
So-
he falls into like kind of like Udyr, where he's really, really strong. And yeah, there are some team comps you don't want to play him into, but if you're good enough with him, I mean, Chira wrecks with Udyr, and Udyr has some of the same ability problems and getting into, into the team if there are too many slows. But if you're good enough with them, you can find ways around it.
Right, and here's the thing: his Q hits turrets, so you can use that to help split push and do the damage if you don't want to save it for an escape. His W, remember, it's an execute. The lower life they have, the more damage it does. So it is just insane for executing somebody with. It makes you want to hold on to it, but it's still it's surprising damage. And then his chain lightning on his ultimate,
Just surprisingly a lot of damage.
and it chains through so many minions. I mean, I've killed people hiding at their turret because I just stop and smack a minion instead of chasing because I know he's 2 steps ahead and I can't hit him with an auto attack. So I start smacking the minions that are near him, and then it chains and finishes him off. So he has his strengths, but I agree with you in the fact that his initiation is nowhere near Sejuani factor.
It's not.
But he's more of a
just
bruiser
that.
than she is. He's more of like a fighter damage dealer.
You
than
need
Sejuani.
you need somebody like a Leona who can initiate from far away if you're playing somebody like Volibear, because you're just going to have a bad time otherwise. And the major difference, like I love Volibear. I would play Volibear all the time if it was a little easier to get in on people with him. But the difference between him and Udyr, and why I like Udyr more, is because Udyr you can at least band-aid with swiftness boots and the fact that you have almost perma ghost when you're in bear stance. So like Udyr's issues become less over the course of the game because you're always running around at the speed of light, whereas Volibear is just your Q's up and you didn't get to him, now it's down.
Yeah.
If you're playing Udyr, your E's down and your move speed's gone, I'll just hit it again. So like it's not exactly the same thing. Yes, there's issues, but I would not first pick either of them against it, or I guess pick either of them into a team that has like a Janna Jinx on it.
But here's the thing. You run into it, you hit Q, you run in, you force a flash maybe without having to flash yourself. And your Q's up again in 10 seconds, 9 seconds?
Yeah,
and
but
you do it again, and you can make them, you can zone them, you can force them to react to you just by hitting Q. I've done that where I don't intend to grab them.
Guys, I want to debate Volibear. I want to really get into it. Don't get me wrong, but I really want to hit the rest of this patch and talk about the Luden's Echo and whatnot. So
okay,
I'm gonna cut the argument off this one time. I apologize. I expect you guys to do the same thing to me if we ever have.
I was just giving tips on how to make him a little better, but yeah. It's pretty much he's not as good of an initiator.
Not as good as an initiator, still a good champion. Please play it if you're finding that you have.
And champions have problems. Mobility just happens to be one of his. He's still strong otherwise.
So let's move. Okay, so we understand that junglers right now, I would say that like Sejuani is pick or ban. And
He's good.
I would really say Sejuani is pick or ban at this point because of how good she is. She does a lot of damage. Even if you're failing early, you will pick it back up later, assuming your team just doesn't ridiculously feed. So we're going to move into talking about Azir, and then we're going to move a little bit of Kassadin, because I want to talk about Kassadin, Lissandra, and etc. The champions that we didn't get to talk about last time.
Right.
Daze, is your microphone working, or did you completely kill it?
The cat.
Yeah, it's working.
It had issues. Yeah, it's good. We're good. She got tired of bothering me and ganked my microphone. That's it.
That Rengar pounce. Serious business.
All right, so
go
ahead. No, you lost it. Now you killed it.
Now you're dead.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, Audacity's probably going to blow up at this point. This is going to be a good episode. All right.
Oh, no. All right, Azir.
And she's back.
Wait. It's working.
But did Audacity die?
Yeah, Audacity's done.
Son of a bitch!
Oh, no.
I tried to lock her up. You don't understand. She hides. She knows.
Son of a bitch. God damn it, Daze Cat. I'm not even mad at you. I'm mad at the fucking cat.
I'll ship her to you.
Yeah, and I'm going to ship her to a graveyard. I don't deal with
Adam
cats.
threatening animals on the internet. What a jerk.
Well, do this for me. Start up your Audacity again if you have the old one. If you can
And
save
we'll
the old one,
splice
start it up, and then just kind of give me a little nod, and we'll splice it in. So, Azir, he got some changes here. Base attack speed has been increased to 0.625 or 0.600. Soldier attack range 325 to 375, and spear passer range 100. to 50. Total range has been unchanged. So they're just giving him back some of his power that he got rid of, or that has been removed.
Right.
Again, I don't. Giving the soldier attack range back is. I think giving the soldier attack range back is probably enough to bring the good and bad Azir player. I hate to say it like this, but I think this is going to allow the really good Azir players to pick him back up and start playing with him again. And it's going to allow the players who want to pick him up because he thinks he's so good, they think he's so good, they're going to have a harder time playing him because he doesn't do as much damage as he previously was between Qs and whatnot. So, do I think this puts Azir back into pick ban status? No. Do I think this brings Azir back up to a more similar rest of champions? Yes. But with
Good for both comps.
Yeah, but with the onslaught of some of the other mids we've been seeing, like Diana and whatnot, he isn't gonna fare too well against Diana. And
I don't know. With his ult, he's got great counter Diana with that thing.
Oh,
she can't throw her. Nice.
I've seen so
Very
many Azirs.
classy, yeah.
no, that wasn't that. I was moving my leg.
Oh, okay.
Piss poor ult lately.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's pretty much Azir. I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be picker ban like before and a mad rampage in LCS, but maybe we'll see him picked here and there again.
I would try him again, but again, the whole let's not learn mid, let's learn jungle thing. So I suppose I've been kicked out of the roles that I want to play.
We've actually all petitioned to have Riot remove Azir from your account. So
Next thing you know, Adam's gonna start trying to jungle him and be like, "Guys, this is secret OP. I found a place for him."
Can I do that?
Never. No.
We talk about
Other
Gragas.
boy, Gangplank.
Well,
Just got
that's just a
Bug fix.
a bug fix. I still think Gangplank's like awesome. He's great early, he's great mid, and then he falls off really hard. He's one of those guys who goes like this, and then plateaus a little bit, and then it just drops. Like,
Actually,
straight down.
the better way to phrase that is he's great until he has to join the team.
Oh, he's pretty good. He's pretty good team because he has his E, but he's not great. Okay,
I
he's
hear
pretty
you there.
good,
Side
but he's
push
not
is where
great.
his power is, and you can't really take him solo if he's beefed up. So
Right.
he's pretty good. You know, maybe we'll see him crawl out of the bunghole. Maybe he'll hang out in there and continue not to be picked.
Well, speaking of crawling out of the bunk hole, Kassadin has been some of the nerfs reverted here, and that's Rift Walk. They're all on his R. Which, with Kassadin, I feel like everything has been revolved around his R at this point. After they remove the silence, now Q is the shield and the channel stopper. Is that the word for it? Preventer, interrupter, interrupt.
Interrupt.
Riftwalk R was the cooldown was 753. It is now 642. Range 450 to 500. Cost 60 to 50. I think these small changes actually put Kassadin back into very powerful status. And because the people who were going to play him before already understood when they needed to engage and when they needed to get out of a team fight. So giving that little bit extra range back, but a bit decreasing the cooldown as well, allows those players that were already sitting on that edge to gain their ability to dodge skill shots and to engage fights or get over to walls or whatever it may be that they were using the ability for. That you do a tanky Kassadin with like Rod of Ages is he's a lane bully. Seriously, this dude, like, you would think he's not going to be. He's going to be really weak because everyone's used to it. But this dude is a big lane bully and doesn't gets pushed and doesn't get pushed out very easily.
And he's hard to trade against if you're AP.
Yeah,
Magic,
absolutely.
so.
Impossible.
If you're smart
to
with your
trade
Q.
against, really.
Yeah. So, but what was his range before the nerf to the 450?
700.
Okay, so he still feels really short, and you got to be really sneaky if you're going to get over any kind of terrain. You got to know where to be. So he still has more of that. You got to be really good with him now instead of just I'll have my cursor way over here and hit it, and I'll be fine. So
Okay,
I don't know.
So they called the shorter version of his Rift Walk after they changed it, nerfed it, Rift Step, and now they're calling it Rift Walk again. But with the reduced cooldown, is it more appropriate to call it Rift Skipping?
Rift skip.
Rift skip.
He's gonna Rift Skip all over your face.
Well, he does have the
that
increased
does
mana
not
cost.
sound intimidating at all.
No.
He was going to walk around the terrain, but he decided to skip it.
Yo, I just skipped all over your face. Like, that doesn't really work as
Wow.
well as walk, right?
All right, enough with your Mumu impressions trying to rap. Let's move on.
I do think that Kassadin is back. I do think that players are going to start picking him back up again, and that he is going to find his spot back at the top of high level play, or play that allows players with a great familiarity with a champion to do exactly what they were doing previously, because he plays very well at the top. He plays very well into mid against a lot of the AP champions. He cannot be, it's very hard to bully him out of the lane with the flask and 3 potion start. And even with that, he, his empowered W and his Q, he's doing quite a bit of damage between his entire kit.
It might turn into one of those things too, where because he's had so many nerfs recently and he was really weak for like a couple of weeks, people are going to forget about him, and then he's going to show up again and crush. And
I'll wave my hand right here and say I've already forgotten about him, but I've seen him played since the patch, and I've seen him crush face since the patch.
Even when Kassadin was stupid strong, I would still forget about him when he wasn't in a game, and then I'm like, oh shit, they have a Kassadin. I don't know what it is about that champion.
I don't know. People have been playing him top, but they need to stick to the mid, or stick wherever the AP enemy is, because I crush every Kassadin that I come across on my AD bruiser top. So I don't know what it is, but the laning phase is tough, especially against Sion. It's just tough for Kassadin.
Well, he's always had issues.
You want to beat on a
melee.
mage.
Yeah, you do. You want to beat on anybody with AP, or anybody that's doing magic damage to you.
Right, because then they can't trade against you. You do your trade, you back off, and then you got the little shield while you're backing off. So if they try to trade, you're good to go, and then rinse, repeat.
I do want to touch on Nidalee real quick, because we had mentioned to her that we didn't think this change was that big. I do think this change does significantly change how she is played out of the jungle, because before you would start W bushwhacking, you would throw a number of them down to get that percentage of life, that real quick burst damage, and now it's doing significantly less damage to start bushwhack, which means it's slowing down your jungle time as Nidalee. Granted, that's not really what made Nidalee super strong in the jungle, but it definitely helped her by having a faster clear, by being able to clear the jungle and gank right away between pounce and the Q pounce. That because W is pounce, W is bushwhack / pounce. You can go Q right after that. You could gank at level 2 with her. Now it's much harder to do that first clear. You have to spend much more, and you're pretty much like every other jungler at this point. So there's not Nidalee is no longer overpowered out of the jungle. She's fair.
I still think she's pretty powerful. I just don't like dealing with her. She's still got a great kit. Being able to switch those forms immediately, get double the abilities, kind of like the Jace factor. But now she's out of the jungle, tossing
I was about to
spears.
say, there's something huge to be said. Even if she has a harder time clearing, there's something still big to be said about a champion who can throw one ability from an area where you can't even see her and hit you, and you potentially have to back just because she hit you.
Yeah, because if you don't,
and can we also mention that the thing that she's throwing at you is invisible?
Until
spears are still invisible like half the time. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's some next level ballistic missile shit.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, but I do think that giving her that harder time, that clear, because before she could clear and gank at level 2, and now she's not gonna be able to clear and gank until level 3.
Okay, so no, she can't commit to you all in at level 2 or something like that.
It makes a difference. It can make the difference in lanes. I'm not going to say.
I mean, it does make the difference, but
in
it's
the
still one of those.
Right.
It's one of those things too. She doesn't necessarily have any of that hard CC to like necessarily make up for like that amazing level 2 gank anyway. All she did was bring damage, and yeah, she's going to be a little bit more health when she comes in lane, so maybe you'll be able to flip it on her, but she's still going to do a lot of damage. Like, it's not like she was bushwhacking anybody in lane with the W 100% of the time.
The whole point of it, like I just want to bring up the fact that if players weren't ready to pick her up, kind of like if anyone's like me and the fact that I don't generally pick up champions until they're like underpowered, there is that case kind of like Annie where I'll pick them up when they're super overpowered and really ride the wave. I've been playing Victor and ranked. I don't think I'm like 4-1 with Victor and ranked play right now. Like I'm riding the wave. Don't get me wrong.
You are the epitome of a meta player.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I didn't start picking up jungle until just recently, and I would have picked her up, but now the bushwhack changes, I won't do it because she's requires too much skill for me to invest the time in to learn to play. So before you didn't have to invest as much.
Yeah, unless she just appeals to you. It's like, wow, you can turn to a cat. I really like that. It's kind of cool. Pick her up because you like the whole atmosphere of playing her. But I see where you're going. If you're just going pure competitive, I'm picking champions purely for their abilities. They're just programming to me. Then yeah, I can see your point to that. But that's part of my scrub mentality that I don't think I'll get over. Is I enjoy the look and feel of certain champions. The Undead Warrior with Sion, the Spartan with Pantheon, things like that. That's the reason I pick them. I like a bear people, so follow bear, for example.
Well, let's talk about a guy who has been reborn and potentially has been reborn into a higher ranking and now win percentage, and that's Urgot.
His little faux mana shield.
His faux mana shield with some stacked tier. If I read it correctly, it's like 150 more at max rank. It's 150 more shield,
and it costs that same amount of shield that it gives you is what it costs in mana as well. So it costs 8% mana now to use instead of having a mana cost, at least according to the Wikia, and it gives you extra 8% of your total mana in shield on top of the base, which is really nice when you're doing the normal Urgot build that Muramana, Mana Mune, and then you can have it active.
Right, and probably I should have said Hyperkinetic Position Reverser now has had a cooldown reduction at rank 2 and 3 from 110 to 80. It's significant later in the game, but more champions need those. There's too many champions that have game-impacting ultimates that have them up more quickly than other champions with game-impacting ultimates. Like everybody kind of... I agree with Riot's doing, and that's making everybody with ultimates. It's kind of like they're normalizing ultimates across the board.
Yeah, they're dipping their toes in the water here with buffing Urgot. They have their sights on him. They still want to buff him a little more, bring him back into contention. But this is just they're saying, hey, let's see what this does. We'll make him tankier. And he's kind of in a weird place, They're making him tankier, but he's an 80 carry kind of thing. He's still got the short range. They buffed the missile speed of his auto attacks the last time they touched him a few patches ago. So, I don't know. I haven't busted him out, but I used to jungle Urgot. I used to top. I'm
going to Cinderhulk Urgot.
I love her. Cinderhulk Urgot. Oh,
I can see it though because you make Urgot like super tanky between his W and Cinderhulk and the max life.
And if you're building him tanky, you can actually get that ult off and not immediately die on transitioning to it.
Or if you have a Callista, you're the support Urgot,
that.
And then a Callista. And you can kidnap people with your Hyperkinetic Position Reverser. You reverse them to you, and then you'll disappear, and you can throw yourself near Callista. So the two of you are there.
Does it really work that way? Like
it does.
It's like Blitz, isn't it? Like if you
it is. It turns it into like a Blitz hook. Yeah.
See, is that Urlista now?
Yeah. Kalagot. Yeah. Urlista's better. Urlista's better. But yeah, it's a nice little thing, and I haven't messed with it, so I want to play with it and see how impactful it is.
Veigar changes. I think we slightly touched on this last time, but I think Veigar is in a way better spot than he was, and he was already good.
Right. Missile speed on his Q is much faster, 14% faster, and they took a quarter off the delay on his event horizon from 0.75 seconds to 0.5 seconds. So it's a little bit better. You don't really feel it because... I'm still kind of used to the old Veigar with the instant E, so the delay itself.
The only people that are noticing it are living on the West Coast and have way better reaction time than probably anybody living on the East Coast.
Yeah, it is nice. Yeah, we did touch on it last time, though. But Varus, I like Varus's change. Did you guys read that one?
Yeah, the cooldown now, when you hold it down, it now starts.
Right. Instead of waiting for it to fully charge, then let go, and then it starts the cooldown. That was BS. Now, at least, you don't feel punished for charging it to the full amount.
Right.
So that's actually pretty sweet. It's quality of life, but it's really good.
And it means more Qs over the course of the game.
Whenever we talk about these patch notes, it always cracks me up because I'm like half watching days because everyone else is talking and she's too busy typing away. And that's she's still waiting for that 1 mega support patch where everything gets changed. And then you can spend the entire episode talking about it.
Yeah, we'll just take a dip out.
She doesn't have her headphones in, does she? Yeah. She didn't hear anything I said.
read Skype chat, Adam.
I can't.
Oh, well, that's why.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah, and so what do we have here? We talked about Volibear. So I'm going to say Zhao for now, but we actually had a donation come in that we'll read the donation amount. We'll say thank you. Apparently, we've been saying Zhao wrong. It's Zhao. Shinjo. Shinjoe.
Shinjo.
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 He said S-H-I-N, right?
Shinjo.
Shinjo.
Yes.
Shinjo.
Well, I'll just read it quick. We'll go back over it again. He goes, I love the podcast, but you've been saying Shinjo's name wrong. I only know this because I started talking Mandarin this year. The proper way to say it is the sound. It sounds like Shinjo, as a soft I almost sounds.
Okay. It's going to be hard for me to remember that.
I know. I've been calling him Zhao for God knows how long. So I apologize, and if it grinds on your gears,
I don't know if that you pronounce the XIN part like Shin, like Shin Zhao, like Jow is the ZHAO. At least that's how I've heard it, and like I can go to Google right now and listen to how it's supposed to be pronounced, and that's what I'm hearing. So I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly.
God damn it, DeClawd.
Akali and Shinjo. That's
well,
Shinjo.
Shinjo, he got to change. Battle cry, head, hey, base heal, increase at the early levels from 26 to 30, and audacious charge head to damage increase at rank 2 and above, rank 2 and above. So just giving him a little bit more power back because tank jungler is becoming so powerful. I kind of want to play him. I do kind of want to play him again.
These scare me. Win now's any kind of adjustments to win now, because I really remember the time when he was
at the peak of his
win
power.
Now. Yeah, when he was disgusting and
running around maxing E and immediately all-inning you as soon as
maxing
he gets
E and having cooldown reduction. Yeah.
And now they're kind of they're squeaking a little bit of power back to him. He's kind of, in my opinion, he balances on a knife's edge as far as OP and UP. Pretty much. So he's kind of he was a little bit more towards the UP, and now they're giving him a little push. I hope he doesn't fall over into the OP again. But we'll see. Play him. I'd like to see what Chira thinks coming out of the jungle with him.
I haven't played Shin jungle in a long time.
Shin. I know. It's going to take a while. Shin.
Shen?
Shen? Where?
Shed?
I'll play him out of the jungle too. Screw it.
Nice.
Cinderhulk or die.
No, you're not playing out of the jungle. I'm playing out of the jungle tonight.
I quit.
Okay.
I quit League.
All right, see you. Bye.
See ya. I'm out later.
The only other item I wanted to talk about was Luden's Echo. And that item, great for the ability power, great for movement speed. The unique passive, not that great.
Let's just say the unique passive, I haven't even noticed.
Yeah, it doesn't do any damage. What makes the difference? Okay, so if you're looking at this and comparing to Static Shiv, because they both do the same damn thing, essentially, one for AP, one for the other. Static Shiv can crit, Luden's Echo cannot. And even if it could, you don't build crit on the people to make it crit. So that's the difference, and that's what makes Static Shiv so good in cooperation with iEdge, because it can crit. It gets the extra crit damage on it. Luden's Echo is like a flat 100 essentially, or
I wish it crit and you saw APs everywhere taking 1% crit runes.
I haven't built this item yet. I forgot it was in there. But it's a 120 ability power item. It's nice. It's another. It fills a little bit of the void that the other needlessly large rod item, Deathfire Grasp, has left. Mm-hmm. So I want to try it. I can't talk at it. Looking at it,
it's not good.
I like the movement speed and I like the ability power.
That's all it's good for. That's honestly, if that's what you like and you can find a use for a movement speed, like Vel'Koz can make quite a bit of use out of this. I know you like Vel'Koz because movement speed is something that Vel'Koz lacks, and you need to.
I'm thinking Veigar too.
I was about to say Veigar needs that movement speed too.
Just because his Q now hits 2 targets, so you hit the Q with the 2 targets, you hit your W, and then if you get that charge proc off when you hit your ult, it's a lot of.
Well, you would think, but that's the thing. It's 15% of ability power, so it's nothing. The proc does like nothing. It does like 130. Total when it's fully charged up. So it really doesn't add that much damage to it. What you would build it for is the extra 120 ability power and 7% movement speed.
Right.
Everything else is gravy,
Yeah, I can see that.
That cherry
I
on
still want
top.
to try it before I make any decisions on it. But yeah.
And and to be honest with you, most people won't notice the move speed. Like, I don't think there's enough people in this game that actually notice the move speed they gain from tier 2 boots, and that's why they don't buy tier 2 boots that often. And that's like, where's my tinfoil hat? That's like tinfoil hat Adam, like people aren't paying attention, not really, what yada yada. I'm looking at the rest of these notes here. Banner Command, if you're not watching Kargan play during the day on Twitch TV/TForce podcast, please check out Banner Command as a support. I wish Days couldn't jump out of here for the evening, but she would probably agree with me that Banner Command is an item that needs to be built, not all the time, but definitely needs to be looked at and built, because being able to impact a lane without actually having to go to that lane is, leaps and a lot of people, it's like leaps and bounds better than what you could do as support. It gives you so much more ability to impact the entire map. And you can't really do that as a support because you're so tied to the people that you have to follow around.
I've seen it pretty much on close games where you're both hammering away at the late game. It's lasting 45 minutes. I've seen that item actually turn things in our favor because it got one lane pushing. They had to react, and then we were able to take an objective or get a pick. So I agree with you there. It's hidden. Yes, OP for the later game.
Promote a cannon minion. Cannon minion now becomes named Frank. Just letting everyone know. If you promote a cannon minion with banner command, his name is Frank.
Who decided that?
We did. Kargan did actually on his stream. He calls it Frank,
okay.
So that's what it's named, Frank.
Good guy, Kargan. You know what?
Okay.
I was about to be like, who are you to decide that? And if Kargan does it, that's cool with me. Whatever.
All right. So yes, Frank, you do. You set up a slow push with it. You use it in a lane that you don't think anyone's going to go to, and you put it on the cannon minion, and you let that slow push. It will take a turret, and it's giving you free money as a support. Like, every minion that cannon minion kills, you get the money for that.
I will say, Adam did buy this the other day in a game, and we got a free bottom turret because of it. The entire time the enemy's sieging us in mid, and Adam just banner commanded one thing like 3 minutes before they started sieging, and they just took it that long to get there. But as soon as we were like chasing them back off a turret, and they couldn't really defend anything, that thing was crushing stuff because I had giant wave with it. It was great.
Yeah, and and you're still getting the aura. You're still getting the Aegis Legion aura with that item, so I really think it's better than Locket. Yeah, I think Locket's great. If you're, like for a pro team, you're probably going to buy Locket because teams are going to be able to respond. But in a lot of normal games, people are not going to respond to that slow split pushing as well, especially when eventually we're going to talk minion wave management, and one of those things is learning how to start a slow push. So if you can have somebody help start a slow push with you in another lane, you have now influenced 2 lanes, and one of them you didn't have to do anything to but promote a minion. So...
try it out. Buy it more.
So have you guys noticed anything about the extra gold, or, well, the lack of gold given to you by inhibitor turrets, or the shield in the inner turrets changing?
Not particularly.
No.
That's because we're not professionals and we don't.
Usually by the time you're getting inhibitor turrets, unless it's a really, really close match, but if you're getting them, you won't feel this as much because you're not relying on that for global gold at that point. If you can knock down an inhibitor turret, you're pretty well built and you're doing a damn good job. So I haven't noticed it. I guess it would more hit a split push comp where Chira has that asshole Udyr running around killing, and he kills that inhibitor turret while everyone else is doing Baron or fighting something. The global goal doesn't hit the rest of the team.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's more of my split push support Sion build.
There you go.
Split push
Knock people out of the air.
Never forget.
Never forget. And the Nexus turrets too. They're hitting the global team experience and the global team gold on Nexus laser turrets. If you're knocking down Nexus turrets, do you really need golden experience at that point? Are you going to notice 100 less gold and 120 less experience?
No,
I haven't yet.
I think most of these changes, especially the shield inner turret, giving you so much life and having having an extra 300 life. It used to give you a shield of 200, now it gives you a shield of 30. The middle lane inner turret no longer gives a shield to nearby champions, was really a nerf for pro players rather than it was so much a nerf to the individual players, because pro players had their turrets 2v1 and taken so quickly that other players could stand at those outer turrets with that extra 200 life and farm safely for a extended period of time, which allowed them to come back into the game. So the snowball you receive by taking that turret and preventing that player from gaining experience was negated by the extra life.
Yeah.
Wow, I see all this.
What?
No, both of you. Like I saw the face both of you made. You're like, and you started like both like typing. You guys are like both your faces lit up.
Oh yeah. Minion health. Have you noticed anything about that?
I actually have noticed it a little bit, but it's partly I noticed it when I have a lack of ability power on a mid lane champion.
Okay.
And that's that. Like with Malzahar, I find it much, unless I'm keeping up or I'm ahead, it's becoming much harder to
Keep
clear
your
in a
space
minion
age
wave.
jumping.
Yes, I have to spend more time auto attacking minions to keep my space age jumping as Malzahar. For whatever reason, I've been playing Malzahar in ranked. Because he's so safe.
He's good. He is safe. He's awesome. I love Malzahar. Ziggs, I got destroyed by Ziggs. I was playing Veigar, and he's not very good against Ziggs who can just poke the shit out of you, and you can't hit him with anything. And that kind of reignited. I was like, oh, I forgot about Ziggs. I haven't played him in a while because all these other cool mid champions I've been messing with. So I want to mess with him again a little bit more there. But with the minion health thing, I don't know. I'm used to the QW, clear the minions. I don't know if it will anymore. I might have to get an extra few auto attacks and use my short fuse on a minion instead of trading with the enemy laner.
Right. I think that that ends patch 5.5. It only took us 2 hours to talk about it.
That wraps it up.
It was a pretty significant amount of changes.
It was a beefy patch.
I want to just ask Cheer something to satisfy my own curiosity. Have you been playing Skarner since his
I
changes?
did play Skarner, and I got fed as hell and probably didn't build him any way anybody should ever build him. But
Blade of the Road
you
King
notice
and
any-
Triforce. No, come on. If you ask me if you noticed anything, bullshit.
what?
You got so fed, you had Blade of the Ruin King and Triforce into a Randuin's. And
no,
Moods of
I
Loathing.
had
Blade of the Ruin King,
Cinderhulk
Triforce.
into
That's it.
TForce with Blade of the Rune King into Randuin's. Yeah.
How's that bad? That sounds like a
No,
No, it was
Yes,
great.
we're-
That's
It was-
not what
I-
it is.
I
It
could
wasn't.
kill
It
anybody.
wasn't the new champion. He
Oh,
would have done
yeah,
it with the old
he
one.
just got fed.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's how I played Skarner way back when Skarner was that secret OP in like season 2, season 3, end of season
Okay,
2.
so
early
it's the
season
same build you had before the changes.
Yeah.
Now you do the same build after. Have you?
And you can
noticed
play
anything?
him. 3. I mean, yeah, I it's awesome because now between the AoE from Cinderhulk and your Q, you're clearing the jungle really, really, really quick, and the buffs, were a little nice, but
I don't know. I still like the double brutalizer build. I find myself.
I won't be building double brutalizer on him.
You still building? Are you doing Cinderhulk with the
Yeah,
shield?
yeah. I don't know what it is, but well, I mean, I do know what it is. The thing with bruisers and what I really, really like with bruisers, especially bruisers like Skarner, Udyr, Olaf, anybody like that, they have pretty open build paths, and that if you get ahead early, you can go like. This is kind of my rule of thumb. If they have more squishies than they do have tanky people, you can get an early TForce if you're ahead. If they have like 2 or 3 tanky people, that's like Leona support, somebody out of the jungle, anybody who's kind of tanky, get that Blade of the Rune King so you can kind of shred when it comes to team fights or something like that. And you can do either or, and if you're real fed, you can do both. But like usually I'll go into something like Cinderhulk, TForce, Randuin's, and with the extra health you're getting from the Cinderhulk, with just the TForce and the Randuin's, you get like an extra 325 health out of Cinderhulk bonus. So like
nice.
That's a lot of free health for 2 items. And with your shield, that's a lot of upfront damage you can take. Yeah, you don't have a million resistances, but depending on how early in the game, that's a 3-item build. So like a 30-minute mark, that's a pretty large amount of health. I think it was like around 3,600.
You should build the new
3,200
Righteous
health.
Glory on him. So you just
Dive
barrel
turrets.
in and grab someone.
Oh,
with
yeah.
nothing they
The
can
new
do.
Righteous Glory would be fantastic on Skarner.
Sion, I played Sion with his changes, by the way. His mana cost increase
Yeah.
on his E, and I've noticed it.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
I have
Absolutely.
noticed it. But his Decimating Smash, I've noticed the reduction in that, so I'm using that a little bit more, but I'm still ranking E because when it does hit, it hits hard. It's pretty sweet. So,
Well,
and then the fact that he's getting attack damage modifier increase on Q just further reinforces my idea. Build tanky, but also build that Hydra.
I'm not worried about the Hydra, especially with the Cinderhulk changes. Just be that unkillable god Sion that you were meant to be.
Just be the unkillable guy.
But
Who
if you're not
cares if
jungling,
you have the Hydra damage?
if you're not jungling, you won't have a Cinderhulk.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is top lane.
Hey, I don't know. Sion's like top tier jungler now with Cinderhulk,
he's really good.
Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe
I told you I got
completely moves that top lane.
5,700. I got 5,700 hit points in a custom game with him on the PBE before this patch released.
Is you guys just continually talking about tank junglers, and I can't.
You kind of look like Azir. It's got like a little beak thing sticking out.
Listen, guys.
A silver.
He looks like
Azir.
a shinier version of Nimrod from the old X-Men, like the Uncanny, the cartoon from the 80s, 70s, whatever.
Well,
He's back with the mylar blanket for you listeners, by the way.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they could hear it because it goes.
Oh, they could definitely hear it.
The crinkling.
The crinkling, the mylar blanket. So you know, this is what's happening, guys. I'm gonna stop Riot from listening to me because if they hear that I really like Azir, they're gonna continue to nerf him. So at this point, if I wear this and I talk about how awesome Azir is, they'll just continue to buff him. That's like conspiracy theory bonophobia right now.
We'll see if it works.
You like it?
Tune in next week. In a couple days.
People are gonna be so mad at me. Like, you stopped the podcast so early. Well,
Did you buy that blanket just for this?
I actually had 20 of them. I had 20 of them sent to me, actually.
Oh,
really? They're actually excellent survival. You put
I put one in my car.
Bag.
I have one in my car.
Good.
I
got a bug out bag. Put them in there too.
I don't have one of whatever the hell that is.
It's a bug out bag. When shit hits the fan, you got something.
But to bug out.
Bug out with, yeah.
All right, guys. Don't forget to go vote for us the podcast awards if you really enjoy us. You know, putting on mylar blankets and talking about League of Legends, and if you like,
tell your friends, tell your families.
This is really really hot, so I'm trying to get through this. If you really like Dave's cat, and the reason she got kicked off the podcast tonight because the cat was a little asshole, yeah. So if you enjoy that. If you want us to buy a new desk for Days, TrinityHorsePodcast.com/donate.
One higher than her cat can jump onto. You get a standing desk that's over her head.
Podcastawards.com. Go check out Trinity Force Podcast, guys. That's all we have for this week. Yeah, I can't see my mouse, so that's it.
All right. Bye, guys.